Call the meeting to order. The Wilmington City Council. I'd like to welcome all those who are with us here this evening and all those who are watching us at home. Thank you for taking an interest in your government. At this time, I'd like to introduce Captain Joe Michael James of the Wilmington Fire Department for our invocation, and I will ask if everyone will stand and remain standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance. Captain, welcome.
We can bow our heads in reverence. Heavenly Father, I ask that you be with us today as we continue the journey of building a better community. We pray over everybody gathered here today. Grant us the wisdom that is fair, the courage that is steady, and hearts that seek the good of every neighbor. Unite us as one city, working together in strength and compassion. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have one presentation this evening. In that presentation, I'd like to recognize at this time Mr. Rossi Nance, who is a Vietnam veteran, and I will be naming March 29, 2026 as Vietnam Veterans Day in our community. And if Mr. Nance could meet me at the front. There's Mr. Nance. Yeah, come on down, everybody. City of Wilmington, North Carolina proclamation reads, whereas the United States of America Vietnam War commemoration gives us the opportunity for all Americans to recognize, honor, and thank our Vietnam veterans and their families for their service and sacrifices during the Vietnam War from November 1, 1955 through April 30th, 1975. And whereas Americans from every corner of our nation reported for duty during the Vietnam War, and we are grateful for their service and their sacrifices. And whereas today we reaffirm one of our most fundamental obligations to show all who have worn the uniform of the United States the respect and dignity they deserve and to honor their sacrifices by serving them as well as they served us. And whereas on March 29th was established as National Vietnam War Veterans Day and gained permanent federal designation through the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act of 2017. Now, therefore, I, Bill Sappho, Mayor of the City of Wilmington, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim March 29th, 2026 as Vietnam Veterans Day in our community. And Mr. Nance, I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done for our country. I know that I've met a lot of the Vietnam veterans in our community, and you folks are always out at the National Cemetery doing Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and you have continued to serve our great nation. And I just want to turn this microphone over to you and say thank you so much and welcome home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Sappho. I'm Rossi Nance. I reside in Castle Hayne. I'm not a city member. But I want to thank everyone. Thank you, Mayor and the Council, for what you've done for the 29th of March, Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. I only want to say one thing. You always see these Vietnam veterans with a hat on, says Vietnam veteran. If you see one this week, next week, shake their hand and say two words, welcome home. That's all they want. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Our next item of business is our consent agenda, items 1 through 8. I would like to pull item C4 And I would like to ask for that particular item, which is a resolution authorizing the funding for the Wilmington Police Department transition from shotguns to rifles to be withdrawn. Do I have a motion for that, please? I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Spears, seconded by Councilmember Chakima Clinton Quintana. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes unanimously. Now I would like to go back to the consent agenda. Are there any items that any other member would like to hear separately?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull C5.
C5, anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull C8.
And item C8. Are there any others? If not, what are the wishes of council in respect to C1, C2, C3, C6, and C7? We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Joyner, seconded by Councilmember Santaguida. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes unanimously. At this time, I'd like to recognize Councilmember David Joyner. Mr. Joyner?
Thank you. So C5, we discussed yesterday at our agenda briefing. This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase 25 pursuit-related Tahoes from Capital Chevrolet, Inc. of Raleigh, North Carolina, in the amount of $1,325,175 from the Fleet Replacement Fund. And the reason that I held this up in agenda briefing yesterday is because I had not yet gotten the update that I had requested related to our fleet transition study. So I want to say thank you to staff who pulled that for me and got that to me yesterday and today. And so if anybody was following that, I wanted to provide you with the following update. ICF International is the vendor who is doing the data collection and analysis for us on our fleet transition study. That data was collected between June and November of last year. That project was originally had a proposed deadline of February 8th of 2026, and it has been extended for a final deadline and to have product in the city's hands, is my understanding, by April 26th of 2026. So I'm looking forward to the end of April to finally reviewing that data. Thank you to staff, and I move the item.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Joyner, second by Councilmember Andrews. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item passes unanimously. And now I'll recognize Councilmember J.C. Lau. Ms. Lau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I asked for this item to be up for discussion because the item is requesting the removal of the requirement for a Home Builders Association member. And one of the reasons I did that is I wanted us to talk about the purpose of the committee. When we redid it, when we started it as just a city committee, it's a little bit different. It wasn't just about affordable housing as the product, like the buildings that are subsidized and used for perpetually affordable products. It was more about housing affordability in the city, like in general, for all of us. So I really feel like having everybody at the table is important for that. We have a seat for the realtors, we have a seat for the Housing Coalition, for the Chamber, for the Wilmington Housing Authority, and I think that it would be best to also continue having that seat for a Home Builders Association member. I've been to housing meetings and affordable housing summits for 20 years, and the progress only happens when we have more people at the table that have the solutions and have the answers. We all kind of know, in this field, we kind of all know what a lot of the problems are, but I think the more people we have at the table, not just an individual who knows something and has experience, but somebody who's also representing an entire organization. So we have the resources and the influence and the knowledge of the entire organization. So that's why I wanted to keep that particular requirement in place so that we could have somebody appointed by the Home Builders Association that would continue that partnership with the city. So one of the reasons that was put on our agenda is that there were some folks from the previous committee that didn't quite fit into another category. So we were looking at some of their applications who wanted to continue on. So maybe one of the solutions is we could consider, instead of 3 members of the representing residents, we could have 2 members representing residents and maybe an at-large position. So that's my thoughts on that for us to bat around.
Currently, Ms. Lau, how many members are on that committee? Is there 11?
11.
11 members? Okay. All right. Ms. Andrews?
Yeah, so I just have I guess, a difference in philosophy. I think when we, first of all, I've been on this committee for a few years, and I've had a lot of difficulty with sometimes that we over pigeonhole some of these spots. And we have a chronic one that we're going to finally fill tonight that started out being a convention center hotel, which was written into it when the Embassy Suites was the only convention center hotel. And we expanded that we changed it to Convention Center District Hotel, and it's still taken almost 2 years to fill that, that spot, and hopefully we're filling it tonight. I also philosophically feel that we're not asking organizations for an appointment. We are the appointing authority, and that these boards and commissions are advisory to us, and we're making the decisions. And I agree with having everybody at the table. The fact is, this person that served on this board before in that position, who was a member of the Home Builders Association, wants to continue on this board. He's no longer a member of the Home Builders Association, but he is still a home builder. He still has the same qualifications. He still has the same desire to serve as a home builder in that affordable housing space. And so to me, I think he still feels the spirit of what we're looking for as far as having, we want the builders and bankers at the table, but we also have decided to expand that into people with lived experience. And I know that we had started out with just one person with lived experience, and Mayor Pro Tem Spears had asked for that to be 3 people with lived experience, and we all agreed to that. And that's why I'm fine with just changing this to be a home builder, preferably one with experience in affordable housing, just like we have a commercial lender, preferably one with experience in affordable housing. We're just kind of we're keeping the same experience at the table, but we're not saying that a particular organization gets to a point, because that's not really true. We are the appointing authority. Even the appointments committee really should be properly called the nominations committee, because it's the council as a whole that does the appointments. So.
But the only thing I'll say is, since we now, the city, are the only governmental agency in this area that is dealing with affordable housing, and since we're reconstituting or creating this committee, whether it has 11 members or 13 members, and I would ask that we put 2 more members on here. Because I think the more people that are involved in this discussion, the clearer it is to most people as to some of the hurdles that we have to overcome. I will also say that the Home Builders Association is also probably one of the more powerful lobbying associations in the state of North Carolina, which also play a very important role in public policy when it comes to housing and how you build housing. And I think that having a member would only help us, especially if they're supportive of our endeavor. So to move the membership from 11 to 13 and adding another at-large member, but also designating one for the home builders, I think would be appropriate at this time, because I think the more the merrier that's involved in this discussion. And we also will have more advocates that are out there hopefully tooting the horn as to why affordable housing is critically important to our communities, not only here but around the country. Yes, Ms. Santaguido.
This is a very practical question. Have any members of the Home Builders Association applied to be on this committee? Or is the issue that the previous home builder that was on the previous committee is no longer part of the Home Builders Association?
That's correct.
I think it makes sense to reappoint that person, but my question really still stands. Of the applicants that we've had to the committee, have any of them are they current members of the Home Builders Association?
We haven't had a whole lot of applications yet, since we're still getting the word out that we've recreated it. I did talk to the Home Builders Association, and they're interested in sending us somebody with the experience that we're looking for. So I think the solution that Mayor Saffo brought forward is to add 2 at-large members instead of changing the current one. Would be a great solution.
Then we could have 2 home builders?
No.
No, 2 at large.
No.
2 at large.
No,
No, 3, it would be 3 at large. We have currently 3 at large, correct?
well, Mr. Mayor, we currently have 3 members representing residents of affordable housing units, and My understanding of what you said is this amendment changes it to a home builder, preferably one who specializes in affordable housing, but then we would also just add one at-large member and then one member of the Home Builders Association specifically.
Yeah.
Understood.
So the
I'm
two
not
extra
trying to take-
members,
yeah,
the
yeah.
two extra members in addition to what you have in front of you would be one at-large member and one member of the Home Builders Association, still accepting the one for a regular home builder who doesn't necessarily have to be part of the association. Is that correct?
2 home builders total, 4 residents
Well,
total.
this individual happened to be
I'm just trying
part
to
of the Home
understand.
Builders Association. Now, he's not a member of the Home Builders Association, but it's just a general home builder. But having 13 members to me is not something that would be out of line, since it's our committee. It's the only committee right now in the southeastern North Carolina that has is at least trying to look at this issue in a very broad sense. And having more people at the table, I think, as opposed to less, is always better for us.
Thank you.
Just take. Yes, sir, Ms. Spears?
Of course, I got to complicate this thing, right?
Well, it's,
Could we not just add one? Why do we need two?
we could, we could, doesn't matter.
It's not ideal to have an even number in case there's a tie vote, so that's why people go with the odd numbers.
We're having a hard time getting people there anyway. So.
It's more of an advisory
We're working
commission
on it.
anyway, whether it's 12 or 30. I know what you're saying about the even and odd, but I think in this particular thing, they're more of an advisory group to the city
That's true.
council in respect to things. So if you just added a member, like Kevin said, I don't think that would be.
I mean, because if you can't get 13, Select's going to let you know about it.
Ms. Lyle, did you have another comment?
I think I did. Yes, the reason I like the 2 at large was because this is probably not the last time we're going to have someone great apply, and we go, oh, we don't have a slot for them, like Celeste mentioned, pigeonholing a lot of the folks, as opposed to we need 2 home builders. So that's what I was going to say back when I thought of the comment, but we've had some discussion since then. But if any of the solutions that were brought up would be fine with me.
Councilmember Clinton Quintana?
So I just want to be clear that we are keeping the 3 members representing residents.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. So it would be just adding a member. 2.
2.
Yeah, 2. We'll just add 2 members.
So we currently have, when you say what we currently have, not what we currently have proposed?
Currently, we have 11 members, and right now, if you add the 2 members, another at-large, and
Another
somebody specifically from the Home
home
Builders, you
builders.
have
Got
13.
it. Okay.
And just for clarification, the at-large member doesn't necessarily have to be a resident. That can be anybody from anywhere as long as they are interested in the affordable housing and housing affordability.
Sure, we'd love to have more.
Sure.
There's a lot of people talking about it, not only in the city, but in the county, and Pender County, and Brunswick County, so I don't think it'd be a bad thing.
Great.
Okay.
Great solution. Thanks, everyone.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Andrews, second by Councilmember.
Mr. Mayor, may I read the motion?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I would like to move that we keep the current membership that we have, which includes a member from the Home Builders Association, and just add 2 additional at-large members. So that's my motion.
Wait,
Very good.
but I'm sorry, but what about the one that's for a home builder who specializes in affordable housing?
Forget that, we're just going to slot him into an at-large
Large position.
spot,
Okay,
I think,
I
right?
second that, yes.
all right.
Perfect.
Got it.
Okay. So we have a motion by Councilmember Andrews, second by Councilmember Joyner. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes unanimously. Okay, that brings us to our next item of business, which is our public information. We have 2 speakers that have signed up to speak with us this evening. Our first speaker is Mr. Jack Pollock, who is a city resident, who will be speaking to us about Major James Capers Medal of Honor. Jack, welcome.
Good evening. What I'm going to share with you real quick, 4 of you already have heard this, the background on the individual, but for the 3 that haven't, I think it's very important. Major Capers is a former Marine. He's about 88 years old now. highly decorated Marine, over 60 missions, some covert, some not. He has received 2 Bronze Stars, a Navy Cross, several Purple Hearts, several medals of commendation. About 5 or 6 years ago, a group of people decided that this was not enough, that his accomplishments deserved a higher honor. So a group of people, including Congressman Norman from South Carolina, have been running an effort through Congress, through the administration for those years, to get him nominated for Medal of Honor. So I stood before you a year ago. If most of you, those of you that were here would remember that, and I asked the City Council to pass a resolution showing support for the effort to help this gentleman attain the Medal of Honor. And you unanimously approved that resolution, along with the County Commission, other governing organizations around the state and nationwide. Happy to stand in front of you this first week of March. The final legislation was passed through the Senate, and he will get his Medal of Honor. So thank you all for your support.
It's a tremendous honor. Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much. Next speaker is Mr. Joel Barrio. Is Joel here? Will be speaking to us. Do not grant WPD 250 in city money while an investigation into the murder is still ongoing.
Hello. Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm just speaking on the news that came out yesterday about the chief of police asking for the $250,000 to upgrade their weaponry, which is the wrong time to try to do something like this when the community is in outrage and trying to understand what happened with the tragedy of the shooting of Heriberto Espinosa Sierra. The family's still in grieving. They have demands about, just wanting more clarity as what's going on. I know there's an investigation, but for the chief of police to ask for more weapons in a moment like this is this is a time for a vote to really meet the moment, and I think that voting in favor of it is against what's currently happening. When if someone does something wrong, there should be repercussions, and there's an investigation going on as to the Wilmington Police Department and the sheriff's officers into what happened, and more weapons in that situation will not help. It was a horrific video. I don't know how many of you saw it, but please do. If you haven't, it's terrible. So that is all I'm asking. Please don't vote in favor of this, at least until after the investigation comes out, the body camera footage, the list of officers' names. Yeah, this is a tragedy. Let's not make it worse. Thank you.
Yeah. That brings us to our next item of business, which is our public hearings. Item PH1 is a resolution approving an amendment to an installment financing contract in an amount not to exceed $75 million to finance and refinance various city projects. And at this time, I'd like to recognize our city manager, Ms. Becky Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. This item will be handled by our finance director, Martha Wayne.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. Tonight, I am before you again with the second phase of our debt issuance process. I'm going to go briefly over this tonight, as you have already seen the presentation once. The public hearing is actually related to the limited obligation bonds. Limited obligation bonds, there is no voter approval required. The city's ad valorem taxing power is not pledged, and the debt is actually secured by city payments as well as a deed of trust. So the public hearing tonight is going to approve moving forward with this debt issuance as well as adjusting the deed of trust to match the additional borrowing requirement. The limited obligation bonds, we are currently asking for them not to exceed $75 million. Just as a reminder, only $25 million of that is related to new debt. The remaining $50 million is a potential refunding we would like to do to actually save the city funds. The estimated savings related to the 2015A is currently around $340,000, and estimated savings related to Series 2016 is around $1.4 million. Just as a reminder, from the new borrowing standpoint, of the $25 million, a large portion of that is going to the parks maintenance facility as well as street and sidewalks rehab. What I'm showing now is just a calendar of the entire debt process. The first time I came before you was February 17th. I'm coming for you tonight as part of the public hearing as well as approval of a resolution. Moving forward, at the first meeting in April, this item will be heard by the Local Government Commission, if you agree, and they will hopefully approve the process. We will then go forward with pricing, and then we hope and plan to close in May. I know that there is a little bit of volatility in the market, so right now, as far as the refinancing is concerned, if there is any reason why it does not make sense for us to move forward with the refunding portion, if we aren't seeing the savings we anticipate, we can delay that item. However, as of today, it is still favorable for the city. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
So before we go to the LGC for them to review this, if the rates were to drop, and I don't know when I know that the Fed just made a decision to hold the rates, but if let's just say the rates were to drop before we get there, something happens if you've delayed it, do we get the savings? Could we, or do we have to lock in at this specific rate now?
So what we are currently doing, this particular limited obligation funds has two portions to it. It has the new debt portion as well as the refinancing. So the refinancing piece, as part of this process, we also go through a rating agency review. We have had 2 calls with the rating agencies. The review has not been completed as of yet. It still has to go to committee. But essentially, whenever we have that rating given to the city, as far as the refinancing is concerned, if it was not favorable, we could go to the LGC, ask them to delay the date, and then we would have several months to come back if we do see it's favorable, and we would just work with the LGC to get back on their calendar.
So your advisors that are looking at this are telling you this is the time to go ahead and lock in, don't play it?
Right now, they're saying it's still favorable. They actually had several clients actually close this past week. And, you know, at this point, as far as the refinancing and everything else, I mean, they are saying that it is still favorable for the city.
Okay, and when do you go before the LGC, the Local Government Commission, to review the financing package?
It actually goes forward the first meeting in April, which is April 1st.
Okay.
And then the pricing for the bonds is towards the end of April, April 22nd, in that time period.
Excuse me again, will you go back over, and out of the 75, how much of it was refi and how much of it was new debt?
Up to $50 million is related to the refinancing, and up to $25 million is related to the new debt.
Okay, very good. Okay,
Are there any other questions I can assist with?
okay. Thank you. This is a public hearing. I ask if anybody in the public wishes to speak on item PH1 in regards to the installment financing contract. Madam Clerk, have you had any additional commentary, comments, anything sent in?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay, any further questions from council? Okay. I will close the public hearing and ask for the wishes of council in respect to item PH1. We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Andrews, second by Councilmember Joyner. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously. That brings us to the next item, which is our ordinances. Item O1 is an ordinance amending the Wilmington City Code, Chapter 1, General Provisions. And at this time, again, I'd like to recognize our city manager, Ms. Becky Hawk. Ms. Hawk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. Our city attorney, Meredith Everhart, will be going over this item with you this evening.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. I just wanted to let you know, we don't have a formal presentation for this. You should have all received the red line version that Councilmember Santaguida requested yesterday during agenda briefing. This first Chapter 1 of the city code is part of an overall rewrite of the entire city code. We spoke about this during performance evaluations and reviews for the upcoming year, and this is a project that the city attorney's office is taking on to revamp the entire code, one little piece at a time. We were able to do the entire chapter for Chapter 1 because it was basically definitions. So we took out several of the definitions that were no longer used in the code and were obsolete, and then we updated some others. And so there wasn't anything that was truly substantive in this first chapter. As we start going on further into the code, there will be more substantive items that we'll bring before you, and so those might not come entire chapters together. They may come in smaller batches, but we are going to systematically work our way through that. There are some, in speaking with the city manager, there are some code provisions that we would like to prioritize and maybe take out of order because we're already seeing some issues with those, so you may see some come out of order as well. But this is the first group, and I'd be happy to take any questions, and we're going to try to get you new groupings at least every 2 to 3 months for the next batch to kind of keep things rolling and on schedule.
Any questions? Ms. Everhart? You guys got a lot of work ahead of you.
It is, but I think there's a lot of our code that was written between 1950 and 1980. And that's a big time span, and there's been a lot of law that has happened in the time period since then. And so we're going to try to bring ourselves up to 2026 standards.
Okay, very good. Thank you. What are the wishes of council in respect, or does anybody have any further questions or comments? If not, what are the wishes of council in respect to the ordinance? We have a motion by Councilmember Santaguida, second by Councilmember Clinton Quintana. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first reading. Is there a motion to waive second reading? Motion made by Councilmember Joyner, second by Mayor Pro Tem Spears. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first as well as second reading. That brings us to our next item of business, which is item O2A, which is a resolution officially accepting public streets, pedestrian improvements, and storm drainage facilities within William Booth Drive. And then we have an accompanying item O2B, which is the ordinance establishing a speed limit of 25 miles per hour on William Booth Drive. At this time, again, I'd like to recognize our city manager, Ms. Becky Hawk. Ms. Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. Rob Gordon, our plan review engineer, will be presenting this item.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of City Council. I have 2 items for you this evening for consideration. The first item, item O2A, is a resolution for roadway acceptance of William Booth Drive. The second companion item is establishing a 25 mile per hour speed limit on this same roadway. William Booth Drive is located between Carnegie Avenue and 30th Street, adjacent to Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway. And it was constructed as part of the Salvation Army project last year. I do have a correction to the resolution to announce. The total roadway construction cost listed at $1,348,750 should be correct. Did not include allowable change orders. The corrected, updated roadway construction cost should be $1,464,758. That's consistent with the city's roadway reimbursement contract presented at prior meetings. The total roadway value would then be adjusted to $1,581,150 $110. So with those corrections in total, 0.45 miles of roadway are being proposed for acceptance, along with pedestrian and drainage easements. The roadway improvements within the right-of-way have been reviewed, inspected by city staff, and all necessary repairs have been made. There are additional details and photos in your agenda packet, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have on the resolution. Dennis Vilkinowitz is available if there are any questions on the companion speed limit ordinance.
This was the entire roadway within that project?
Correct. That connects Carnegie around to 30th Street.
Okay, very good. Any questions? Okay. All right, we'll take these one at a time. We'll take the resolution first. What are the wishes of council in respect to the resolution? We have a motion approved by Councilmember Clinton Quintana, second by Mayor Pro Tem Spears. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously. Only needs one reading. Now let's go to the ordinance, which is establishing the speed limit of 25 miles per hour. What are the wishes of council? We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Santaguida, second by Councilmember Andrews. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first reading. Is there a motion to waive second reading in regards to the 25 miles per hour? We have a motion by Councilmember Clinton Quintana, second by Mayor Pro Tem Spears. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first as well as second reading.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just
Yes,
for
ma'am.
clarification on the resolution, that, for the record, that was with the amended numbers that Mr. Gordon mentioned.
Correct. Could you please,
That's with the total roadway construction cost of $1,464,758, and with the total value for the roadway at $1,581,110.
That's
And we'll
correct.
get that additional information to the clerk in a corrected resolution.
Thank you very much. The next item of business is our resolutions. Item R1 is a resolution approving the issuance, execution, and delivery of not to exceed $15 million for stormwater fee revenue, refunding bonds, and providing for certain other matters in connection with the issuance. Again, I'd like to recognize the city manager, Ms. Hall. Ms. Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, and again, Finance Director Martha Wayne.
Good evening again. I needed to come back a second time as this portion actually did not require a public hearing, so that's why you're seeing me at two different phases within the meeting. So this particular portion that I'm referring to is a resolution that is solely related to the 2026 stormwater fee revenue refunding. There is no new debt associated with this agreement. The amount is not to exceed $15 million, and currently estimated savings would be around $750,000. This is a similar situation where we're planning to go before the LGC at the first meeting, and this is planned to close slightly after the limited obligation bonds that I was speaking to earlier, just because a lot of times you want to have just a slight variance between the two issuances whenever you're doing two debt issuances from one municipality. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are you going to hear these on the same day, the LGC, or two different days?
Same day,
Same day.
yes.
And I would imagine there's others that are trying to refinance some stuff also.
Yeah, they usually have a fairly full calendar.
Okay, very good. Any comments? Okay, thank you very much. What are the wishes of council in respect to the resolution? We have a motion to approve by Mayor Pro Tem Spears, second by Councilmember Joyner. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item passes unanimously. That brings us to item R2, which is a resolution to sign the Cape Fear Council of Governments joint letter to the Environmental Management Commission identifying specific concerns related to the Fuquay-Varina proposed interbasin transfer request. Again, I'd like to recognize the city manager, Ms. Hawk. Ms. Hawk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. This item will be presented by Kara Spencer, our Legislative Affairs Director.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. On November 18th, the Wilmington City Council unanimously passed a resolution in opposition to Fuquay-Varina's Interbasin transfer request. The resolution before you tonight represents an opportunity to underscore that opposition by standing with a regional coalition from across southeastern North Carolina, made up to send the message that we stand together in mutual concern. And as you know, your legislative agenda for 2026 states your priority and intention to protect the Cape Fear River as a source of raw water by preventing its contents without appropriate return. And the letter that you have included in your packet that we're asking you to sign was drafted by our colleagues at the Cape Fear Council of Governments and is in alignment with your intentions. We're hopeful that by signing, the regional effort will make a difference when EMC issues its final decision.
So this, I know that the COG has weighed in on this. I know the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority has weighed in on this. The Lower Cape Fear Water and Sewer Authority has weighed in on this. I think Brunswick County, Pender County, Bladen County, all the counties upriver are going all the way to Fayetteville have weighed in on this, how important this issue is for our community and for our region. And since we're at the end of the line, we're dealing with PFAS, we're dealing with sea level rise, we're dealing now with the triangle, in all intents and purposes, trying to get into our water basin, take our water from us, from our communities, from Fayetteville all the way down here. And I can't stress how important this is that we all have a say in this, because this is going to drastically affect a lot of different things. But I know that Fuquay-Varina is asking for 6 million gallons to be pulled out of the Cape Fear every day. I know right behind them, we understand that there's other communities that are waiting in line, because as the state has grown, the triangle has grown the fastest. And so we have a QR code that people can go on and make comments. Do we have that?
Absolutely.
Could you please share that with the community, because this is an extremely important thing, and the more comments that we have about this, the better off we all are, because this is going to affect small communities, big communities, everybody, and they just, for some reason, just don't care up there. And we're just trying to do our part. I'm not saying they don't care, but it's a pretty serious situation for our communities.
Yes, and actually you have a sheet in front of you with the contact information for where residents and members of the public can issue their individual comments through April 1st. There is an email, actually Mayor Sappho is the only person that will have that sheet.
I'm looking at this letter.
Okay.
Let me just make certain. Let me say something.
While you're grabbing it, I just want to, for you to picture it, that 6.17 million a day, that amount of water every single day, if you took a football field, and this includes the end zones, that would every single day be 14 feet deep on a football field. That's every single day. Do you have that sheet in front of you?
I do have the sheet, and I'm sorry because I just had a little accident with my eye, so I'm going to ask Councilmember Clinton Quintana to please read into it, and she's also a member of the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority, along with Mr. Joyner. So. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mayor Sappho. For any of those who are interested, and I'm actually begging you to please send an email stating your opposition to Maya. It's MAYA .Holcomb, HOLCOMB @deq.nc.gov. And I'll read that one more time. It's Maya Holcomb @deq.nc.gov. That's MAYA .HOLCOMB @deq.nc.gov. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Mr. Joyner, do you have any comments, sir?
I was just going to point out, when we were at the National League of Cities conference, I guess a week ago now, Mayor Sappho and I were in line. I don't remember what we were in line for, but we turned around and the mayor of Fuquay-Varina was right behind us, and I looked down at his name tag and I said, "I'm glad that you're stuck in line with us, because we got some things that we need to talk about." And we actually had a relatively friendly conversation. I think my understanding is he's in his first term as mayor and is learning about this and is aware that it's on our radar. So the more that we can keep the volume up on this, the better off Wilmington and southeastern North Carolina will be on actually, getting what we want, which is to have the water return to the Cape Fear River so that it remains in our river basin, as opposed to, I believe, the Noose is the proposed alternative. So I'm going to support this resolution at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Councilmember Clinton Quintana.
I just want to reiterate, it is the return of clean water. We're giving them clean water. We want clean water back. So,
Anybody else? Okay. What are the wishes of council in respect to the item which is R2, which is the resolution? We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Andrews, second by Councilmember Santaguida. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes unanimously. Brings us to our next item of business, which is our reports. Item RP1, reports of council's appointments committee for boards, commissions. And this time I'd like to recognize Councilmember Celeste Andrews, who is the chair, woman of that committee.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, the committee met on March 2nd, 2026, present with me as chair and Mayor Bill Saffo as a member and Councilmember J.C. Lyle as a member. We recommend the appointment to the Convention Center Advisory Committee of Trinity Dunlap as a hotelier with a term expiring 12/7/2028. We recommend the appointment of Atiba Johnson to the Greater Downtown Special Area Plan Steering Committee as a representative of the Commission on African American History. We recommend the appointment of Michael Maurer to the Encino Sports Park User Group Advisory Committee as a member of the rugby community. And then to the City of Wilmington Community Relations Advisory Committee, we are recommending 4 appointments. And Trayvon Trey Tate as an at-large member with an emphasis on the faith community. Rosemary Tatum as an at-large member with an emphasis on the business community. Elisa Brightman as an at-large member with an emphasis on the nonprofit community. And Bruce Maliga as an at-large member with an emphasis on members of Title VII groups. To the Sister Cities Commission, we recommend the appointment of Nancy Bullock as an at-large member. And we also voted for the removal of Laura Blair from the State Ports Commission due to lack of attendance, and we are therefore looking for a replacement member from the State Ports Authority. To the Sister City Commission. To the Wilmington, New Hanover County Port, Waterway, and Beach Commission, we are recommending the reappointment of Neil Andrew and Ben Cherry as both as at-large members with terms expiring in 2029. To the Thalian Association of Wilmington, Inc. Board of Directors, we are recommending the appointment of Councilmember Santaguida as the councilmember appointee. And bear with me here because this is a little confusing. There's also the Thalian Hall Center for the Performing Arts, Inc. Board of Trustees, to which we recommend the reappointment of Councilmember Joyner with a term expiring in 2028. And finally, to the City of Wilmington Housing Affordability Advisory Committee, we recommend the appointment of Eric Knight as a member of the Cape Fear Realtors Association, Roger Gins as a developer of affordable housing, Paul Stavovi as an at-large member, Sean Olds as a member of the Cape Fear Housing Coalition, Katrina Knight as a nonprofit representative, and Morgan Moskell as a commercial lender. And with that, I would like to move this Board of Appointments.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Andrews, second by Councilmember Clinton Quintana. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may continue, this is what I've started doing, is reading off the ones that
Please.
we still need.
Thank you.
Okay. So current vacancies that we have for the City of Wilmington Community Relations Advisory Committee, we're looking for an at-large member with an emphasis on the civil rights community. And we are also looking for 2 at-large members who are members of Title VII groups. And we're not sticking to the strict definition of Title VII, but basically any member of any underrepresented group, be it somebody from the disability community, somebody from the LGBTQ community, BIPOC community. We're looking for people to represent our community on the Community Relations Advisory Committee. And then to fill out the Housing Affordability Advisory Committee, we are looking for somebody from the Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association, Wilmington Chamber of Commerce, Wilmington Housing Authority, 3 members representing residents of designated affordable housing units, and also an additional member at large. And then for the Pedestrian Association of Wilmington. We are looking for a city resident to appoint at that, for that committee. For the, we have somebody, and I think all of these, oh, for the Wilmington Tree Commission, we are looking for a city resident. Actually, we're looking for 3 city residents for the Wilmington Tree Commission, and that's it for the folks that we're looking for.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, this concludes the regular agenda. Are there any items to be brought forward by our city attorney?
Yes, sir, we have a motion for closed session when you are at that point.
Okay. City manager?
No report tonight.
Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Santaguida?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just want to take a minute and reflect on my time on council. It's been 112 days. They say the first 100 days is the most important in a new job. So I just want to share some of the things that I'm really excited that we've done, and I'm looking forward to everything else that we're going to do over the next few years. We have attended groundbreakings for affordable housing and transportation improvements. We've been to ribbon cuttings for transportation improvements and a new park. We are working on a deal for a new park property where we will convert 25 acres of private land to public land. We have adjusted the land development code to promote increased housing supply while also keeping the character of Wilmington. We have revived the Housing Affordability Committee and the Community Relations Advisory Council. We've advocated for clean water, transportation funding, and disaster recovery at both the state and federal level. We have allocated funding to transportation improvements, including trails and roads. I've joined the WMPO, which I'm very excited about. Tonight, joining the Pedestrian Association. That's just a few things. I just want to recap for folks all of the work that we've been doing, because I know not everybody sees it every day. We spend a lot of time together. I'm really grateful to work with these folks, and like I said, I'm looking forward to the next few years. Thanks.
Thank you, thank you. Ms. Andrews?
I just wanted to mention, because we've been asked to share this, that the City of Wilmington is working to secure a $17.5 million in federal funding to replace the aging bulkhead along our downtown riverfront at the former Coast Guard Cutter Diligence site. And they are having an open house tomorrow in the Azalea Room, which is right here on this floor, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And so if you're interested and they're looking for submission of public comments to support that application.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, sir. First, I just want to inform the community that the resolution or consent agenda item concerning the weapons was withdrawn, so that's a success for our community. And then I would I would also like to mention what has happened over the course of a couple of weeks and maybe a month or so, some shootings and some murders in our community. The murder of a young man yesterday, the murder of, a police-involved shooting a few weeks ago, and which alludes to this. I know we've been in a huge uproar about the weapons for WPD, but it really alludes to the fact that there are just too many guns on our streets, whether in a community, by criminals, by law enforcement. And in fact, last semester I wrote a paper about guns. My professors didn't necessarily like it, but I wrote it anyway. And there are a lot of handguns. There are a lot of guns in the hands of Americans just in general, way more than any other nation. And I guess it's just a thing, but we're experiencing the severity of the amount of guns that are on the streets in America, and especially in our community. And sometimes those facts just seem to cloud that crime is down. But anytime there's an incident, we don't feel safe. We don't feel like crime is down. And so I understand how passionate and compassionate we are, or we're supposed to be, about these incidents. And I do, of course, I I'm happy to engage in positive banter as it relates to issues. And some of the conversations are going to be tough, but I don't think that we have to talk negatively about our feelings towards one another, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we all have feelings about the things that matter to us. But we can agree to disagree, but it's best to be heard and best to be understood. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Clinton Quintana?
How's your eye?
Felt like your knee.
So I just wanted to take a moment to be very serious here. I hear many people talk about how much they love Wilmington, how beautiful it is, how they love the people, and we're inviting people to come visit, our family members, friends. But the violence needs to stop. It has to stop. I need for everyone to just take a pause and really think about this. It doesn't solve anything, because at the end of the day, it was someone's child, brother, sister, whoever, friend. It has to stop. The violence doesn't solve the problem. And we are working our officers also a little harder when they're having to come to these incidents. Chief Zunema stood before us yesterday and gave a reason why they wanted to go from shotguns to rifles. I understood what his request was about, but I agree. It wasn't the time, so I wasn't in favor of voting for it right now. I appreciate everyone who showed up today and also who's online listening, but because you're here, that means you can hear my plea to you to stop the violence. Let's get Wilmington where we want to see it. That vision that you all talk about and how great it is, and that we have the beaches and everyone wants to live here. I don't want to live in a city that's full of crime or shootings. And honestly, I wouldn't want our police officers having to defend that either. And I thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Ms. Lau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Most of you know this is the 250th anniversary of the United States, and I wanted to share that this week the Daughters of the American Revolution are commemorating what is called the Wilmington Tea Walk, and that happened kind of in solidarity with the Boston Tea Party, only our women of Wilmington who had this luxury item, which was tea, they got their tea and they walked to the river and they burnt it. They didn't just toss it out into the river. They burnt the tea as kind of an act of, this is a luxury we're going to do without because of the taxation issues, and it was kind of a help lead up to the Declaration of Independence. And so this Thursday, there's a tea walk to kind of commemorate that event, and it starts at 10 a.m. this Thursday, March 26th, which is my mom's 85th birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. She watches these. But it starts at the Bergen Wright House, and it starts at 10 o'clock on Thursday. So if you're interested in a little bit of Wilmington history of how we were involved in our American Revolution, join us.
Member Joyner?
I mentioned earlier that this time last week we were in Washington, D.C. for the National League of Cities Conference. Last year, the big topic was funding for the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge, and it was that meeting last year where we essentially got confirmation that funding that had been allocated during the Biden administration was still on the table during the second Trump administration. This year, we talked about that. It was confirmed that we still have, that money's available. But really, the big topic of conversation was FEMA funding and FEMA restructuring. And I think it's important for folks who are involved in any sort of disaster recovery, like as an institution within Wilmington, whether you're in construction, whether you work for a local government, whether you had yourself to be reimbursed after a hurricane recently. David Rouser has a bill related to FEMA reform, and Senator Ted Budd has a different, separate bill related to FEMA reform. So I think it's really important for us to engage with both of those members of Congress which represent Southeastern North Carolina, because if our own state delegation to DC is not on the same page about FEMA, you know, we need to engage and we need to get on the same team so that we can all, you know, have the same vision for what FEMA needs to be in the event of an emergency. So just wanted to put that on everybody's attention because frankly, it was not something that I knew a ton about until we got up there and it was in front of our faces. Thanks.
Thank you. And I'd just like to reiterate also that I want to thank all of the council members that were in Washington, just to let them know that there are people that when they're making decisions up there, they're affecting the lives of many people in all of our communities. And we want them to see our faces to understand some of the frustrations that we have to deal with on a day in and day out basis, whether it be FEMA or whether it be transportation issues or dealing with the Cape Fear River and the PFAS that is in the river and talking with the EPA. But it is important that they hear our voice at the local level, from the local level, so they can understand that the decisions that they're making up there are real life decisions that impact people's lives every single day. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Kara Spencer for helping to coordinate everything and put things together. I know that you had us packed every single day in walking around the hill. We lost a couple of people along the way because of injuries, but we made it through, and thank God we got back in one piece. So thank you very much. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to go into closed session, to enter into a closed session pursuant to the provisions of North Carolina General Statute, Section 143-318.11A and 3, in order for the City Council to, 1, consult the city attorney or her designee regarding the matter of Carson versus the city, case number 726-CV-00038-FL. And the closed session will be held in the Ravenbark Room behind the council chambers. Only city council members and outside counsel for the city will be allowed into the retiring room for this closed session. At the end of the closed session, the council will reopen its public session and adjourn at that time from this space. So do I have a motion by Council Member Clinton Quintana, second by Council Member Joyner? Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That item passes unanimously. We will now go into closed session. And thank you for tonight.